Now, recently I finished my Dark Souls 1 playthrough, as you might have noticed on my YouTube channel. And after I did that on stream, I did some tier lists. Now you might say, hey Jeff, what gives you any kind of qualifications to make tier lists about Dark Souls 1? And to that I have to say, I've played through Dark Souls 1. And so I'm gonna make some tier lists. And so let's start off with what is the most important one, obviously, the bosses tier list. Dark Souls has a lot of great bosses. It also has a lot of not so great bosses, and I feel like we should start with these. So let's start with F tier. F tier are the bosses that really I could totally do without. If they were not in the game, I would much prefer that, and I don't see any merits really to them being there. The first one of which is gonna be no surprise to most people who played through Dark Souls 1 is it's the Bed of Chaos. Fuck that boss, why does it exist? There's nothing great about it. You basically it feels like you have no way to escape the death 2 times, and then you just go into the middle and win. It's really anticlimactic. It looks cool. That's the only positive thing I can really say about that boss. The second one is Pinwheel, which is in F tier because is it even a boss in the first place? What the fuck is this boss? Getting to that boss is so much harder than the actual boss itself, so it's just like it shouldn't even be in this tier list because it's not a boss. The skeletons and wheels outside of the Pinwheel room are more of a boss than Pinwheel. They should be called Pinwheels because the actual wheels. That kind of even fits. And the next one that's an F tier is the Stray Demon. Now it's hard to tell with this one which is actually the Stray Demon, which is the Asylum Demon. But I'm just gonna go with this one because I don't know. Looks kind of like the Stray Demon. So does the other one, but hey. Stray Demon has the problem that when I played it, he was the third Asylum type demon I encountered. And at that point, I really didn't need to fight that boss a third time. I'm just gonna be honest. I was really disappointed when I got there. And it was just another Asylum demon. And the last one that's gonna be an F tier is the Capro Demon. Now the Capro Demon is here for a bit of a different reason, mostly because the boss arena you fight him in fucking sucks. It really fucking sucks. It's really claustrophobic, and not in a good way. You have struggle with the camera a lot, and the dogs are actually a bit bigger problem than the actual Capra Demon itself. Now let's move on to E tier. Now E tier is kind of like F tier, but it has some merits to them. I think the game would still do better with most of these bosses, or the bosses are just at the wrong place. Mostly, actually, they're just at the wrong place, which for the first one is absolutely the case, and pretty much the only reason why it is in E tier. It's a Taurus Demon. That boss should not be the second boss in the game. For anything you have, the first thing is supposed to get you interested, which is the Asylum Demon. The second one is what should get you hooked on the game. And the Taurus Demon feels like a repeat of the Asylum Demon, at least at the time. It's a big demon thing with a club. It has the same kind of fight style. It has the same gimmick with jumping down from the tower. Really, the only difference is the arena you fight him in compared to the Asylum Demon. So, just overall, a really weirdly placed boss fight. It should not be the second boss of the game. Sometime later, sure. As the second boss of the game, God no. Fuck that boss. Next one, which is again mostly due to outside of the boss fight, is Gwendolyn. Mostly because getting to him is a fucking pain in the ass. And add to that the actual boss fight is mostly just running up to him. And you have, as a result, a boss fight that feels like it takes forever. Absolutely forever. So that's the main reason why he is in E tier. And the last one that's gonna be in E tier is the Centipede Demon. Mostly because that's the last boss of the Demon Ruins. The Demon Ruins are kind of like a boss area where you have boss after boss after boss. And then you close off with this one, which it really felt weak. It didn't feel exciting. The main issue with that boss fight was the lava. And once you got that dry spot of land, you could beat him quite easily. It wasn't anything exciting. The only cool thing is that you could see him hanging off a wall before the actual boss fight. Next one is gonna be D tier. Now D tier are the bosses that do their job. They're not anything special in either direction, but they do their job. So first off, let's start off with the Asylum Demon. It's a tutorial boss. It does its job. It introduces like bosses being much bigger than you, some basic mechanics, and overall it does its job. It's fine, but it's not something I remember fondly. It's not something where I had to figure out a way to beat him. It's just a decent boss. As the first one. Similarly, the next one is gonna be the Sanctuary Guardian. Again, pretty much the same thing. It introduces kind of the DLC. The placement is interesting. Like, I didn't expect a boss that early on, I will say that much. But apart from that, it's a decent boss. Doesn't fight particularly amazing, but not totally uninteresting either. It's okay. Most of the deep bosses I don't have much to say about because they're just okay. Same as the next one, the Fire Sage. It's the same as the Asylum Demon, it's just on fire. It's a nice callback you get later in the game, which I got as my second Asylum Demon, so that's why I like that one more. It's a bit of a different moveset. It works fine as it is. It's fine. It works. Why not? And then the next one is gonna be the Moonlight Butterfly, which is actually fight-wise less than the. I liked it though because it was the fourth boss I fought after the Asylum Demon, after the Taurus Demon, and the Bell Gargoyles. And all three of these bosses were big demon-looking things with big clubs. And this isn't that. This is the first boss that was different, that looked different, that played different. So I like that. I really like that. The actual boss fight though was let's not talk about that one. As a guy who played melee, it was just waiting, dodging, which wasn't too hard, and then hitting him over and over, hitting it over and over, and it not even fighting back. And the last one that's gonna be in D tier is Thief the Scalers. A lot of things around the fight are cool, like the way you actually have to find the right boss arena to fight him in, and his looks are cool with the crystals on his body, looks interesting. The actual fight itself, after you break the crystal, is just boring. Like, there's nothing much to say about it. The actual fight is just not interesting. Now we move on to C tier. C tier is the first bosses that did something. They were actually pretty neat in some way or the other. And actually the first boss that's gonna be in C tier is a boss that actually I think in a different playthrough could have been even A tier. Not just B, but A tier. But it just isn't because of the way I fought it. It's Priscilla. The main reason she's in C tier is because she was too easy. I got to her too late. That fight had a lot of cool things about it. Just felt anticlimactic because I got to her so late. But let me say this: in an actual run where I get to her at the right moment and stuff, that boss is way higher than C tier. She's only in C tier because of the way I played through the game. The next boss, actually similar. Quilag, I beat him first try. I think I was amazingly equipped for that fight by chance. I beat her first try rather. Looks cool though. Again, a fight that I think would have been definitely at least B tier if I struggled a bit, which I actually genuinely like at boss fights. I like struggling and having to figure out a solution. So she's in C tier for basically the same reason as Priscilla. The next one, which you might see a pattern here. Camelid, again, a boss which looks cool and would be much higher, but in the end isn't because it was too easy. Like, I beat him first try, and I don't have anything negative to say about the boss other than just I can properly judge the boss. All these three bosses I can properly judge without having actually fought them and struggled. I feel like trying to rate them while having them beaten so easily feels wrong. I don't actually know how much I would like them if I fought them with more difficulty. So they're just in C tier because they look like really fun bosses, just they weren't on my playthrough. And the last one is the only one that's not in this way in C tier. It's Ceaseless Discharge. Apparently you can cheese him, which I didn't do, so that's why he's probably higher than for most people. I thought it was cool. He was a neat introduction to the demon runes. I didn't expect him at all. The way you stutter fight is cool. He sometimes does the same attack 10 times in a row, which bothered me. Apart from that, he was fine. He was a neat boss. I just overall look cool. Had a unique feel with him running around that cliff and you on that cliff. Like, had some cool things, but I don't think that boss would ever be much higher than C compared to the other ones that are in C. So next one, B tier. B tier are the bosses that really, where it really starts getting good. These are not amazing bosses yet, but they are really good. I can wholly recommend them, and well, recommend is a weird word when you fight through all the bosses, but they are fun. These are genuinely really fun. And so the first one that's in there is Manus. Manus is again a boss which could have been much higher, but wasn't because I beat him first try and way too easily. Though actually not so much for this one. I struggled against Manus, even though I beat him first try. I almost used all my Estus flask, which I started with 20 off. So that boss was actually fun. Like, I don't have much to complain about. I think he could definitely be A tier when, if I struggled a bit more. I think the playstyle I had with the giant shield made it too boring. Made a lot of boss fights too boring. So that's kind of on me. But again, I can only rate what I played. So that's where he ends up. The next one is Four Kings. Four Kings was a good boss. I liked it. Figuring out that you really have to rush them down. At least I had to rush them down to beat them. I really struggled the first couple times. They wrecked me. But then once I figured out, hey, let's rush them down. That worked really well. Was cool. And so overall, I don't have much to complain about. It's a neat boss. Pretty, fairly unique. The one thing that was questionable is there's more than 4 kings. Like, definitely at the end, when I've already beaten 3, then there were 2 in the arena, so that was strange. But hey, what do I know? I don't know all the lore behind it, so whatever. Next one in B tier is gonna be the Gaping Dragon. The one thing that really puts the Gaping Dragon up is the opening cutscene with the alligator like looking over and then the whole Gaping Dragon coming up. That is so fucking cool. I loved everything about that. The actual fight is good. Nothing special. The actual fight would probably be more like C tier, but the opening cutscene is so nice. Actually, the arena, the big hall, really gives this an epic feel. So, actually, more things around the boss fight itself that pull it up. Now we come into A tier, and I'm gonna be honest, A tier and S tier are all amazing fights. I don't have anything bad to say about any of them pretty much, only really small things. And the only reason they're in 2 different tiers is because I don't want 7 bosses in 1 tier. So I had to split them up somehow, which was actually quite difficult. So let's start with A tier. And the trend that showed itself in C tier, where a bunch of bosses that were just too easy got in there, is gonna continue in A tier. Artorias was too easy. I beat him first try. I really, while playing the boss fight, I actually said out loud, I wish I wouldn't beat him first try when I was about to beat him first try. I really didn't want to. I actually really wanted to fight him some more. So that's an amazing boss. I love the callback to like Sif, where you really see, hey, Sif emulated him in Sif's fighting style. So a lot of great things about this boss. Really, only I wish I hadn't beaten him first try. Next one is Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. Amazing boss. The atmosphere is great. The area is great. I love the combination of no cutscene, just straight into the fight. Go fuck yourself. And then the music with that intense of a fight, with him having such an intense look with the fire sword. It was such a good combination. Just all the elements work together amazingly. Again, my shield is too strong. But like, this is probably the A tier boss that's closest to S tier for me. I really struggled to not put him into S tier. I might still do it. It's really not. A and S are almost the same tier. Really, if you're mad that a boss is in A tier when he actually belongs in S tier, please don't be. They're almost the same tier. There's barely any difference. It's really only which I enjoyed more. Now, the next one, again, is one where people are maybe gonna card it belongs in S tier, but that one. There's actually one thing I have to say about Ornstein and Smoke, which bothered me when I thought it was a 25-minute fight. That was exhausting, and at some point I started to have enough of it. It was too long, and that is partially me to blame. Don't get me wrong, but in the end, that's how I played it, and it was a bit too long. That's the main reason why Ornstein Smoke is not an S tier. And the last boss that's gonna be an A tier is the Iron Golem. Now, you might be weirded out by that, but I loved that fight because it was different to all the fights before that one. You had a boss that was actually not reliant on health. Like, what I mean by that is Estus Flasks were basically irrelevant in this fight. You really were trying not to instantly die by falling off a cliff. It was like a sumo fight. I loved that. Trying to figure out how to not fall off was really cool. And the only thing that bothers me about this fight is how he falls over at a certain point and you can just get hits in. That's really strange. I think I got him more than half of his health down in that time. That's just really strange. I don't know why that's in that fight, but apart from that, it would be S tier. Amazing fight. Just such a great change of pace. And then let's get to S tier. Which you already know what's going to be in there. I'm just going to explain my reasoning. The Belgar Gods were amazing. The Belgar Gods were what got me hooked. The Belgar Gods should have been the second boss. Like, when I look at... You have to realize, in the past, before this playthrough, I played Dark Souls up to the Undead Church and then stopped. If the Belgar Gods were sometime before that, I would have absolutely played through the rest of the game. That would have instantly got me hooked. That fight is so good in every shape. I don't even have to explain why, I think. I think everyone knows why that fight is so good. So I'm just gonna leave it there. Like, that boss, the only problem with that boss, it came too late a bit. I wish it was the second boss. I really wish it was the second boss. And next one is Nido. Nido is my favorite late game boss, definitely, because I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to beat that boss. I had to change my equipment multiple times and really figure out a strategy to work around him because I was not set up for that fight well. It was amazing figuring that out. His moveset is perfect for that arena with the hit from below where his spear comes out of the ground, or his sword, which makes running around the middle part so much more interesting and not boring. So everything about that fight was amazing. I don't have anything to complain about. And then the last fight is gonna be... This is still my favorite fight. Great Wolf Sith is my favorite fight of Dark Souls. And I'm not even gonna go into much detail why. Again, because I think everyone knows how good that fight is. From the visual design, from the fight itself, from the arena, the music, everything is amazing in that boss fight. I struggled a lot with that one. I probably did it way too early, but I don't regret that at all. I think that was pretty much the best time I had in Dark Souls, was fighting Sith. I was so hooked when I got to that boss. Again, my only wish is I wish one of these bosses came earlier, and I really would have gotten me hooked, because then I wouldn't have played the Dark Souls in 2020. I would have played the Dark Souls in like 2015 or something, when I first got the game. So yeah, that's my bosses tier list. Next up, and the second and probably last tier list I'll make, is gonna be the areas, so stay tuned for that. It's gonna be a different video though, because this one's already almost 20 minutes long, and well, see ya.